Commentary on John 5, verse 18. John 5:18 reads as a pivotal escalation point in the narrative. The response of the religious leaders moves from irritation over Sabbath activity to a settled intention to kill. The charge is twofold: breaking the Sabbath and making himself equal with God by calling God his Father. 1. The accusation of Sabbath violation. The immediate context follows the healing at the pool of Bethesda. John 5, verse 17. The issue is not merely that a man was healed, but that it occurred on the Sabbath and included the instruction to take up your bed and walk. The leaders interpret this as a direct violation of Sabbath law. However, the statement in verse 17, "My Father is working until now, and I am working," reframes the entire issue. Rather than presenting himself as one who disregards divine law, he reveals continuity with the ongoing activity of God. The Sabbath, in this light, is not inactivity, but participation in divine rest and purpose. The healing act exposes that their understanding of the Sabbath had become external and restrictive, disconnected from the life-giving intent of God. 2. Making himself equal with God. The second charge intensifies the first. By calling God his Father in a unique and personal sense, he is understood to be claiming equality with God. This is not a misunderstanding corrected by clarification. Rather, the following discourse, John 5, verse 19 to 47, affirms and expands this reality. The language of his own Father indicates more than covenantal relationship. It expresses shared nature, authority, and operation. The reaction of the leaders demonstrates that they clearly grasp the implication. This is a claim to divine identity, yet the equality expressed is not rivalry, but unity. The Son does nothing independently, but acts in perfect harmony with the Father, v19. This unity reveals a relationship not based on separation, but shared life. Hashtra 3. Theological implications of sonship. This verse introduces a central theme, the revelation of God through the Son. The Son does not merely represent God, he embodies and expresses him fully. The claim of equality is not an intrusion into divine identity, but the unveiling of it. The hostility of the leaders reveals a tension between established structures and the unfolding revelation of God's nature. Their framework cannot accommodate a manifestation of God that operates beyond their interpretive boundaries. 4. Fulfillment and covenant transition. Within the broader narrative of redemptive history, this moment contributes to the growing opposition that culminates in the cross. The rejection is not incidental, but part of a larger movement in which the old covenant order, centered on law and external regulation, confronts the presence of its fulfillment. The insistence on Sabbath regulation contrasts with the arrival of true rest embodied in the Son. The charge of blasphemy contrasts with the reality of divine presence. What is perceived as violation is, in fact, fulfillment. 5. The nature of divine work. My Father is working until now introduces an important perspective. God's work did not cease after creation, but continues in sustaining, redeeming, and giving life. The Son's work is the visible expression of that ongoing divine activity. This continuity challenges the notion of separation between sacred and ordinary time. The work of God transcends such divisions, and the Son's actions reveal that divine life is not confined to ritual boundaries. Part 6. Conflict as revelation. The desire to kill him marks a shift from questioning to opposition. This conflict serves to reveal not only their misunderstanding, but also the depth of the claim being made. The more clearly the Son reveals the Father, the more sharply the resistance emerges from those committed to a different framework. Thus, John 5:18 stands as a turning point. The revelation of divine sonship brings clarity, but also confrontation. The issue is no longer merely what he does, but who he is. Summary insight. John 5 verse 18 presents a moment where action and identity converge. The healing on the Sabbath and the declaration of divine sonship are inseparable. What is seen as law-breaking is the manifestation of divine life, and what is perceived as blasphemy is the unveiling of God's nature. The response of opposition highlights the incompatibility between rigid legal structures and the dynamic revelation embodied in the Son.